Hi everyone, I'm Kayla and I'm excited to contribute to another Shell and Tell by introducing you to another amazing ocean experience. This time let's talk about the tides of the Bay of Fundy. The Bay of Fundy is the body of water located between what is presently called New Brunswick and Nova Scotia in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Let's start at the very beginning. What is a tide? The tide is the rise and the fall of the sea. If you've ever spent time in a coastal place, you've probably noticed that the water is sometimes high up on the land, and sometimes the water level is down low, exposing more of the rocks, sand, and whatever else is on the bottom. That movement of water from high up to down low is the tide. Most places on Earth, the tide comes all the way up for high tide and all the way down for low tide, 2 times per day. But what causes tides? Why does the water move? It's actually because of the moon. So you may be wondering, wait, really? What does the moon have to do with the ocean? Well, it's all about gravity. You may have heard about gravity before. It's the reason why we're able to walk around here on Earth without flying up into the sky. The Earth pulls down on us, and that keeps us stuck on the ground. That's gravity. Well, the moon also has gravity. It pulls on things around it, including the Earth. We don't normally feel the moon pulling on us, but it's a strong enough pull to create a tidal force that moves the water on Earth around. The tidal force causes water in certain areas of Earth to bulge out a bit. So when your part of the Earth rotates through the bulge, you get high tide. Lots of other things affect the tides as well. For example, the sun also has a gravitational pull, and when the pull of the sun and the pull of the moon are lined up together, we get extra high tides and extra low tides. These are called spring tides. When the sun and the moon forces are not lined up and they kind of cancel each other out, we get tides that aren't quite as big, called neap tides. Wind and weather can also affect tides. When it's hurricane season here in Nova Scotia and a high tide is coming, you can bet that the high tide is going to be higher than usual because of storm surge, so we need to stay clear of the coastline. What's so special about the tides in the Bay of Fundy? They are some of the biggest tides on Earth. The difference between high tide and low tide can be more than 12 meters, which is the size of a 4-story building. That sounds like a huge wall of water, but since it takes about 6 hours for the tide to go in and about 6 hours for the tide to go back out, the water doesn't come all at once. It's a gradual change. We sometimes do see a more sudden surge of water when tides flow up into rivers, producing what we call a tidal bore, which is a wave that flows against the current. Normally, rivers flow out to the ocean, but when high tide is coming in, the river can flow backwards. So why is the tide so big in the Bay of Fundy? Well, it's because of the shape and resonance of the bay. Water from the Atlantic Ocean ends up sloshing back and forth like water sloshing back and forth in a bathtub. Wanna go see the world's highest tides? Let's go! Welcome to the Bay of Fundy. I'm here in the Digby area. You can see just across the water from me is Digby Neck, a popular whale watching spot off of Briar Island. But today I'm excited to show you low tide. So normally the water goes all the way up to the rocks here on the side. But now the water has gone all the way out, exposing the mud and rocks that would normally be under the ocean. You can see there's some people and also some birds who are looking for clams. Now that the bottom of the water is exposed, we can get to the clams hiding in the mud. Let's go for a walk on the ocean floor and see what we can find. Lots of barnacles. Snails, seaweed, of course, some empty clam shells. Looks like someone's been having a nice snack. Thanks for coming along on this adventure. I hope you learned enough facts to tide you over till the next episode. See you next time.